at San Diego Comic-Con with Rob Edwards. I have read the first comic from the Kickstarter.
Isn't it great?
It was so great.
Yes.
I was telling Marvin about it, that there's that one page. It's more than one, like 2 pages. It's really just brutal.
Yes.
Emotionally gut-wrenching. But it's so pivotal to the story.
Yes.
Like, you can't tell his story without bringing up that just the horror of it.
Exactly. And then I'll tell you, part of the challenge was, that it was part of that life, but it's an adult remembering a childhood memory. So we could abstract it a bit, and tell it that way. But it was important. I mean, he was a guy who was a little bit too free, and they're like, okay, you got to go break him. And so, yeah. And I'll tell you, Sean Damian Hill just did amazing. When we first saw his roughs, the black and whites front, it was like, okay, yep. Don't touch it. I immediately texted him and said, dude, I've been crying for an hour. Whatever.
That shot where the girl goes from being like a regular person to just transitioning, it's just heartbreaking.
Yes.
It's just...
Yes. I think I have a friend, and suddenly I don't.
Oh, yeah.
I very much don't.
The realization that no one here is your ally is just so brutal.
Yeah.
But we were talking about the fact that I know each book is going to basically be almost like a different theme because it focuses on a different part of his life, and they're all so different.
Yes.
But
and to make everyone its own experience, so that you could pick up on issue 3 and go, oh, this was great. Maybe I'll check out 1 and 2. And to not say, oh, am I missing something? Did I, whatever, not pick it up? And that's just from episodic television. I worked on Fresh Prince and Full House and Living Color and stuff, and it has to be, each one has to be satisfying in and of itself, and then part of a bigger picture.
Now the book itself, the next one is coming out very soon, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
I'm really
at the con. I think we're trying to release it here.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
We have it. I think it's a question as to whether or not we'll be able to get it out by Sunday, but I think we'll, at the very least, be able to take pre-orders, and we'll get it out to everybody in a week or 2.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
The second one, what is going to be the focus of the second book? Is it picking up directly up where the last book left off, or is it going to be...
Yes, exactly. It picks up where the last one left off. Each one... I'm brutal with cliffhangers, so beware. Issue 4, the end of the graphic novel, is a just evil cliffhanger. But it will get you to volume 2, and volume 2 is a ton of fun. But the end of 1 is the cops arrest him and like, oh, what's going to happen. 2 is kind of getting him out. Getting him out of trouble, and here's a beautiful.
I know, that's so.
The beautiful work by Nicholas Draper Ivey, the wonderful guys at Stranger Comics. This is right. So when we first met Sebastian Jones, the first thing he said was, "Oh, he's Shaft," and we said, "Yes, absolutely, he's Shaft. He's he's incredible." And so we started doing that. But anyway, so the first one ends. I shouldn't give you spoilers, but he.
I want the spoilers.
Exactly. But he does. He gets to the planter, and he sees freedom for the first time. Mm-hmm. He sees his plan. That just inches away is the Union blockade. And and just we're establishing the characters. Some of them will follow him all the way through his life. And awesome. And it's just we start to get into the fun of the naval aspect of it, and it's beautiful. I've seen everything because we're about to come out with it. It is spectacular. Issue 3. Even better.
I know you worked specifically with Michael to get like the full story of like his family and his connections and really all the things that was told down that line. So we can expect to see some really well fleshed out characters that are going to follow along with him, as you said.
Yes.
It is a very dark time in American history, in my opinion. The way the treatment was going on. So
then or now, right?
As you said, slavery with a smile. The last time we interviewed,
right?
That's still pretty much but with the story going forward, one thing specifically that Marvin said is that the thorough line kind of that goes through the whole story, even though there's so many different genres, is like his bravery and his courage to just
Yes.
keep going. And then also like there's always the next mountain. There's always the next challenge.
He was defiant. I mean, that's the thing. That's why you needed those 2 pages to set up, that he could not be broken.
Yeah.
And that there was no situation. If there was a situation where they said, "Hey, there's a challenge," he would just solve it. That when he, after he was free, they were like, "Hey, we want to find our families. We want to find, our sons and daughters and whatever. They've all been sold off to different plantations, but the white papers won't allow us to, take out, the classified ads." So he just started a printing press. He just started a newspaper, top to bottom, that. And, they were trying to start businesses, and they said, "Oh, these companies, they won't allow us to ship our goods." So he starts a railroad company. And it was like, hey, there's this chance to represent the government. He ran for Congress and won 5 times. He was also the guy who just argued to Lincoln, and the head of the Department of War, that black people are brave enough and smart enough. If he was smart enough to outsmart the entire Confederate Navy, then maybe a few of us could fight, fight on the side. So just remarkableness all the way through. You're watching this character go from a 10-year-old all the way to his dying day, and the remarkable things he did all along the way, and his heart of just trying to make the world a better place for his family. So now, of course, we were hoping to announce it here. We'll announce it probably a couple months from now, and then for the next con we'll have a really, really good time. This is our 3rd con. But we're making a deal with an A-list, award-winning black director to take on the project, and he and I have worked together before, and we are going to be. Yeah, right. There's too many clues. I'm getting too many clues. But we're going to be working on the movie, and that's part of it. Is just taking this story. All these extraordinary things happen, and what can we do tone-wise? How can we tell the whole story as one?
As one unit with all the different. I mean, every story of his life is amazing.
Yes.
But they have such different tonal shifts and so different situational shifts.
Yes. Because there's a military battle, so that's just straight up action.
You got a war story.
And then there's this kind of courtroom drama of like his time in Congress as they were trying to set him up. Jim Crow was trying to set him up. They framed him for bribery, and he was kicked out of Congress. And they said, "Hey, we'll make this whole thing go away. All you have to do is just not run for Congress anymore." Oh. And he said, "Nope, I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it to the death." It took him almost his entire term to beat the charges. And he walked up the steps of Congress, took his seat back, won again right after that. That's not action, gung gung pow pow, but it's a
great story.
It is a great story. Yeah. It's got great suspense. It the Klan was basically going from polling place to polling place, just killing people, wow. Burning down polling places, that kind of thing. And he still prevailed. So yes, it's very different tones all the way through, but each one I think leads to this conclusion of like, oh my God, whatever Gandhi just huge win.
The one thing that stands out to me about the story, every time I try to tell someone about the comic and the coming movie,
yes,
it's always like, who's that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's what's terrible. It's like, that was the biggest, when it was first brought to me, mm-hmm. I said, I have no idea who this is. I'm on a Zoom call, and I'm just in the other window.
You're like, how do I not know this?
Just like, what? He did what? Whatever. I'm like, I got to call you right back.
Yeah.
And then I just went down a 3-hour rabbit hole of trying to find stuff. And as you mentioned, Michael Bulwer Moore, who also went to Syracuse where I went, and came on the project. I just start firing questions at him. And we also had Dr. Maisha Eatman from Harvard, who was able to answer my question because it was like a fire hose. I was just catching up on everything.
His life was so interesting. It's like a vacuum of like awesome that you just want to know more and more and more.
Yes.
It's just that you open the door that is Robert Smalls, and you just cannot close it again.
It's amazing. And so at a certain point, like I'm talking to Michael, I'm asking him questions, and he says, you know what, in, 150 years since my great-great-grandfather, was around, no one has asked that question. And I kept asking questions. He says, and he said it in an interview, and he said it to me. He says, You are probably the you probably know more about my great grandfather than any other historian. I said, well, I'm just a geek. I come out of the Disney Pixar system where we just research the heck out of everything, and so I need to know. Just for myself, I need to know, and just trying to contextualize and put things in order, and that what you'll see in the graphic novels and the movie is state of the art. You will never find out more about this man or about these times than you will in these books.
It's so great. Now, I think you guys are working with educational services to get the story out there.
Yes.
And help. I'm guessing you're guys going to bring the comic book to schools.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
Well, and that came out of left field during the Kickstarter. People started saying, "Hey, can I buy 100 of these for my school?" And we couldn't do it through Kickstarters, but we said, "Hey, well, let's do it. Let's do it through the website, through defiantproject.com, and also the Legion M site." So we started doing it that way, and then larger organizations that do school curriculum came to us and said, "Hey, we're very interested in making this, getting this into schools." Largely because that's what we were doing. By doing a comic book, we were like, okay, let's not make this stuffy and whatever. Let's not make a book. Hey kids, read the things, whatever. Knowing, exactly. That it's a comic, it's worthy of comic books, so why not tell it that way? Why not have kids go to comic book stores, buy it, share it with their friends,
The crazy thing is, it's not even fantastical, though.
Exactly.
It's real, but it's just, it plays so well in the medium.
Bingo.
Exactly.
Bingo. Yeah. And so, and the beauty of the comic books, the amazing opportunities with the film, of just like, okay, well, there's this great scene or that great scene, and that's what's fun about it. And the director we're talking to, he's like, we need to make a real movie. We need to make a movie worthy of this guy.
Yeah.
Of the scale of this, Navy battles, he won 17. All the courtroom drama, all the the day-to-day life of this guy. So it's been a ball from top to bottom. So I'm thrilled.
So I have one last question for you.
Yes.
Where can someone get that pin?
Ha Defiantproject.com.
That is an awesome pin.
Yes, exactly. This we're debuting at the con this year. And you can find us at our booth. Okay. We have the Legion M booth. You can get it, and the Stranger Comics booth.
I'm going to go there and get it, and that's a really amazing pin.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much.
Thank
it's
you.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Oh, yes, always. I'm so glad you read it.
Of course. Oh my God.